Hello everyone and welcome to a very nice game from the chess.com Global Championship 2022. It's the knockouts, the qualifications for the main event that will take place sometime in November. I think on the 2nd of November it starts, but not really sure. But it's the game that we are interested in. And what's funny is that here Nihal Sarin faces Liren, one of the candidates of the next World Chess Championship match, and also Temur Rajabov faces Yanni Pomnashi, the other candidate of the World Chess Championship match. So they are obviously Nihal and Rajabov are the underdogs. So what happens is very awesome. And I will put a link to the entire article if you guys want to see the other games as well. Will be the first link in the description below. Now let's check it out. Ding has the white pieces and he opens with d4. We have pawn to d5, c4, e6. Sorry about that. Knight to c3, and here Nihal goes for the very sharp c5, the Tarrasch defense. And we have c captures on d5. And now if you want to be very adventurous, you will play something like c captures on d4, but this is Liren we are talking about, so better play solid. E captures on d5, knight to f3, we have knight to f6, and bishop to g5. So all standard stuff, the two knights variation of the Tarrasch, bishop to e6, and now pawn to e3. And now the main moves here are knight to c6, and c4. c4 is not as much played as knight to c6, but I believe it to be the more annoying move to face. And now comes bishop to e2. Now it's very interesting as black pretty much abandoned the fight for the center by playing this sort of anti-positional c4 idea. What happens if white just strikes in the center with e4? I mean, if it can be played, it should be played. The thing is, it's incredibly complicated. For example, d captures on e4. White even has the option of d5. And now we have bishop to g4. Pinning the attacked piece, h3, bishop to h5, g4, bishop to g6, and now knight to h4, where black will get this very nice developing bishop to c5. And you can even capture, for example, captures, and bishop captures on c4, black will castle, and okay, white is up material, but black already played h3, g4, the king is on e1. So while it probably can be played, I don't think anyone wants to play this because after c4, e4 has only been played once and white lost that game. So here, bishop to e2, this is the main continuation, top move recommended by the engine. Knight b to d7, and now we have castles by Ding. We have bishop to b4, and now there is a game where knight to d2 was played, but here Ding goes knight to e5, and it is now as of move 10 that we have a completely new game. Already with some very nice ideas. So here Nihal just castles, and now comes knight captures on d7, and this is the idea behind knight to e5, saying that you can't capture with the knight because the queen hangs, and you cannot capture with the bishop because then the d5 pawn hangs, the knight is pinned by the bishop. So you have to play queen captures on d7, and this allows Ding to open up Nihal's king side. So bishop captures on f6, g captures, and now queen to f3, putting pressure on the d5 pawn. And white never really is worried about captures because then white will capture with the b pawn becomes c pawn, the more powerful center is formed, and so on. So here just king g7, and now you will have options of maybe even bringing rooks to the g file, but also just if, for example, the queen occupies this diagonal, you will not have to worry about that. So here we have a4, and now pawn to b6. We have knight to e2, now bringing the knight to f4, as black does not have a e pawn or a g pawn to kick away the knight. We have bishop to d6, stopping knight to f4, and now knight back to c3 by Ding, putting again pressure on the d5 pawn. And again, bishop to b4. So Ding is asking, Nihal is asking, what do you want to play here really? So queen to c2, and now rook a to c8. We have rook f to d1, and now pawn to f5. And okay, Nihal wants some space here, but for the moment his bishop is pretty much a pawn, so he will have to figure out how to get past this. We have g3, keeping that pawn on f5. You do not want to see f4 played. Pawn to a6, and now we have knight to e2. Now the knight again has some ideas of coming to f4, and Nihal again plays bishop to d6. We have b3 now, challenging this pawn structure, and b5. A captures, and now b captures on c4. And now you would expect Nihal to play b captures on c4, promote his b pawn to a c pawn. It will be a pass pawn, the rook is already behind it, but Nihal plays rook captures on c4, attacking the queen, and probably with the idea that he can push the pawn to b4. At some point, he will also double up the rooks on the c file. So the only thing Nihal has to figure out is how to make this light square bishop an actual piece. So queen to b3, getting the queen out of the way, and now rook f to c8, nicely doubling up on the c file. Rook to a5 going after the b5 pawn, and now rook to b4, attacking Ding's queen. And here Ding should probably play something like queen to d3, but he played queen to a2, and this allows Nihal the very forcing rook to a4. Now you have to trade rooks here, and Nihal gets the outside passed pawn. So captures. Now the passed pawn is very strong, and this even comes with a pawn sacrifice, but Nihal wants Ding to capture on d5. But if he doesn't capture on d5, what else do you have to show for allowing Nihal this beautiful passed a pawn? So Ding captures the pawn here. We have pawn to a3, and now bishop captures on e6. We have queen captures, offering a queen trade, and now Ding just plays pawn to d5. We have queen to e4, and here we have a beautiful position where pretty much only one move is the safe move for Ding, but he doesn't find it. Here Ding plays knight to d4, and knight to d4 makes sense. Here, by playing knight to d4, Ding wants to put the knight to c6. This takes away the c file from the rook, and also covers the b8 square, so also takes the b file from the rook. But instead of this, a move that had to be played was queen to a1 with check. And it's such a funny line that I believe you guys should see it. For example, king g8, now queen to f6, and once the pawn comes to a2, as this is what you want to do, queen g5 check, king to f8, and now queen to h6 with check. If you go to the corner, obviously you give white too many chances. King to e7, queen to g5 check, king to e8, queen to g8 check, and now bishop to f8, pawn to d6, and now we have rook to d8. Of course, you can't do anything with the a pawn just yet because d7 check is coming. So rook to d8, and now knight to c3, attacking the queen and the pawn. Rook captures on d6, now saying, okay, you capture the pawn, I'm going to play rook captures on d1, checkmate. So, and of course, you can't really capture the rook because then a1 just queens the pawn. So here, rook to a1, and now queen to f3, putting pressure on that d1 square, and now queen to h8, and now pawn to f6, blocking the queen's diagonal. Rook captures on a2, and now rook to d1 check, knight captures, queen captures, and now finally after king to g2, queen to d5 check, connecting with the rook, king to g1, queen captures on a2, and now queen captures on a7. This is one of the possibilities where Nihal would be up a bishop, but Ding would be up 2 pawns, basically 3 pawns, as the f pawn is doubled. So with the king wide in the open, there's no way you are avoiding checks here. So all in all, a very long draw. But this was the absolute best that Ding could play. But instead, he played knight to d4, and now there is a problem. I already kind of gave you a hint what the idea behind knight to d4 is. But having that in mind, do you see the absolute best move for Nihal while I give you a couple of seconds? So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on realizing that knight to c6 simply cannot be allowed. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is rook to b8. And it even comes with an exclamation mark, as I downloaded the PGN straight from chess.com. So it kind of, stays there. But yeah, it's a very nice exclamation mark. And now, how are you stopping? Rook to b2 is coming, and that is extremely annoying. So here, knight to b3, stopping that, and now queen to c4, putting pressure on the knight here, and Ding just plays knight to c1, or rather he doesn't. Knight to c1 is one of the options. That's a nice one. But even if this is played, let's say captures, and rook b2, there's just no good way to play this. For example, rook to a1, you just play bishop e5, and now there's nothing you can do. Whatever you play, let's say h3, just rook d2, now the rook is hanging, the knight is hanging, and there's no way out of this. So instead, queen to a1 was check, which is a good move. Only it should have been played some 3 moves ago. We have king to g6 now, another very nice move by Nihal. The king is much safer here. Now knight to a5, attacking the queen here, and just queen to e2. Nihal puts the queen here to a very a nice square, and now there is nothing Ding can do here. Rook to b2 is coming, and that's just going to be overwhelming. You're going to have constant pressure on f2, a2 is coming. It's just an unstoppable attack by black. So Ding plays rook to e1, and now of course we have the move from the thumbnail, and that is queen captures on e1, just eliminating one of the defenders of the back rank. Queen captures on e1 and just pawn to a2, and it was in this position on move 36 that Ding Liren resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. Nihal won another very nice game against the Ding, and he didn't even need the full 4 games to take the win. Two wins was sufficient. So yeah, here you resign because there's not all that much you can do. Rook to b1 is coming. You cannot stop this, even if you try queen to a1, then rook to b1 comes with check, so that's not working. And if you play king to g2, again rook to b1, and you're just promoting the pawn to a queen. Let's say queen c3, a1 queen. You will have to trade captures, but now you are just up a full rook, so of course this is completely unplayable. So after a2, Ding resigned, and a wonderful victory for Nihal Sarin. And like I said, Temur Rajabov faced Yanni Pomnishi, and he defeated Yanni Pomnishi. So basically Nihal and Rajabov kicked out the World Chess Championship candidates who will play the World Chess Championship match next year, Ding and Nepo. So that's, pretty incredible. No one thought it could be done, but they did just that. So yeah, that's the game, and a little bit of info on what's going on in the chess.com Global Championship. The knockouts, this was the last match, so next is the main event in November, so stay tuned for that. I would like to thank Alan Winery, Len Herbert, congratulations Dr. Kakov, Francis Air, and Ashish Jayaraman for contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot, I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.